Because I just realized that I need to own a part of the table. Like literally, when they say what you bring to the table, I want to bring table. I want to bring what you put something on. Yeah, yeah. You get what I'm saying? Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Chris Odeh here, and welcome to our podcast of the amazing book Before You Say Action.
Action.
Yes, and I have with me three beautiful nerds.
Not nerds.
I am nervous because of the beauty and the brains in the room. God help me. Hallelujah.
You're safe, Chris.
What's
You're
I saying?
safe.
So I have with me, sitting beside me is the gorgeous DOP. She calls her Zara, but I'm going to call her real name. Chichebem Agwocha. You can't have that kind of name and be an Ajabor. But she's a DP, she's a documentary filmmaker, she's a producer and an alumni of Masterclass 2.0. Chichebem Agwocha, aka Zara. Say that. And to the far left is my amazing sister friend, alumni of Masterclass 2.0. My friend for I think like
Almost
6 years.
6 years.
Wow.
6 years, yeah.
Wow. I'm a producer for one of my short films I was part of called Fracture. She was producer and co-director, and I was production manager on that version. Anyway, talk for another day. She's a film executive. She's a film producer and an alumni, as I said before.
Costume designer.
Yes, costume designer. In fact, when she walked into the studio today, I was like, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. I cover myself with the blood of Jesus.
Is it your show?
Is that your show? I have to go and pull out my best bottom pot. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Eno Jerry. And then I like introducing this other lady, even though I'm sure you heard me talk about her last time, but she's the ghostwriter of this book. She's the project manager of Story Global. She's the writer of Choke, and she's the head of operations of Sozo Films. Meet writer, almost producer, ghostwriter of Before You Say Action, Uche Ateli. So after having done all of that, you know myself. I mean, I'm Chief Doctor Chris Odeh.
Yes.
I forgot my heart today. So we're going to be talking about motives today, and I really love it because I think this is the topic that opened up this book into what it's become. Because this book is saying that there are 7 M's into making films, which said motives, manuscript, money, manpower, management, modus operandi, and market. We're talking about motives today. And I think it's just a general philosophy to life that if you don't know why something exists, you're going to abuse the thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know why cameras exist, you're going to use cameras to do other things. You know, so the things that cameras do, the things that phones do, is something you need a studio for. To understand why things exist helps you to maximize how to use them. So we're going to approach motive as it affects filmmaking, by extension, story, and all of the other factors. And that's where we're coming from. But I'm going to start with this topic. Let me start with the quote from the book. Miles Monroe. Miles Monroe has influenced my life since 1995, which is about 30 years now. Jeez. Wow. And he has a quote here. It's late now, but it's still impacting lives. It says, when purpose of a thing is not understood, abuse is inevitable. You know, can we just think about that before we go into the questions?
Yeah.
Think about that. What does that do for you now?
Yeah.
Purpose.
So purpose for me is understanding your why. And I think there's something you said in your book. In chapter 1, page 4.
Here we go.
And I think this really spoke volume to me. It said, I believe that life itself would be a total waste if an individual fails to discover their why, which is, i.e., their purpose. So if you don't know the reason why you're doing what you're doing, then the purpose for what you're doing is obviously it's going to be abused. I believe that purpose is what drives your completion. Purpose is what drives you to start and actually finish. You started this book because you wanted to give filmmakers a manuscript on how to make better films. And it's because of that I want to influence better filmmakers. That's what made you to sit and actually write this book to the end. So it is that purpose that drives you. So if you don't understand the purpose of why you're doing something, you are just going to mismanage it. And it cuts across not just in film, but in everything. Purpose for relationships, purpose for business. If you don't understand why you're in business, you're going to do any and
Are you
everything.
sure I wrote that book or you wrote the book? I was like, are you sure we're not mixing up everything? Maybe I'm just impersonating.
So that's what I feel like.
Amazing, amazing. It's nice to hear this come back to me because it's making me even really think about my life.
Yeah.
Like, I even understand. Because I want to say this, that when you're faced with challenges, most times I think they're just challenging your purpose.
Yeah.
Because you feel like I'm writing this book. I wrote this book for 4 years.
Yeah,
From the
right.
COVID year till now.
Yes.
And there are points where, thank God for Uche, thank God for a couple of friends, Umpo, and all my community people. But sometime in the book, I just felt like, why do I even need to write a book? Who else is writing a book? What is even wrong with you? Can you just focus on your filmmaking?
Yeah.
But because I realized that my life is not just to make films, but to demystify the process of making film. So everybody can understand it. I always say this quote that when I walk into that room, we break down the door.
Yeah.
Everybody can have access into the space.
Yeah.
And that's what this book has done for us. So that purpose kept me going on, even when
Yeah.
the funds were not there, or the time wasn't there, or the energy. God,
Yeah.
have
Oh,
mercy.
yeah.
The energy wasn't there. You just need to remember why you're doing stuff, and that will make you keep doing it. In the book, we mentioned 3 motives why films are made. And I need to say this, place this disclaimer, that these are not the only motives that are out there. These are the motives I think that we have for making films, especially independent filmmakers. It was written on the front cover that this is an independent filmmaker's handbook, meaning that if you have all the money from grants and studios and government, this is not your book. If you're looking for money from uncles, neighbors, friends, spouses, selling properties and buying properties, this is the book to use to grow $1 million to $1 million to $1 billion. This is the book to read. The 3 reasons why films are made. One is profit, which is everybody likes, which is the money part. The second is fame, which is the recognition, and the third is impact, which is messaging. And just tell me, what do you guys think about those 3 things?
Before we go into that, I want to ask you, what is motive to you?
So motive is the reason. It's why. It's why. That was one question I asked as a kid all the time. I always asked why. Tell me I should eat breakfast. Why? Even this morning when I woke up, my wife was trying to get me to drink something. I asked her, why should I drink it? So it's just something. I think that question why takes you from knowledge to wisdom. So we all know that we should eat in the morning. We all know that we should go to work every day. We all know we should go to church or mosque or whatever. But when you ask why, you move from just knowing the information to understanding why the information. So when the information is restricted, you are not restricted because you know the why, so you could find a way. I was driving here this morning and there was traffic on all the parts I knew. So I had to go through the house parts as I called you. And that is me understanding the route of this place. If it happened to Uche would have been stuck in traffic because she doesn't know the ways around. So why gives you options? So the end doesn't determine the means for you anymore. So the end determines the means, so the route can change, but you know where you are headed. So I'm trying to achieve something in my life, but I can go left, right, front, backward, however, but I get to my destination. So that's what it means for me. So it just takes me beyond knowledge and information into wisdom and understanding. Hope I made sense.
Yeah.
I didn't see that question coming though.
I think it narrows it down.
Yeah.
Like wherever you take, you know where your
We are going to end up,
destination is. So your why determines
How you move.
and if those moves are beneficial to where you're going to. And I think that with the whole motive, people make movies for different reasons. I used to think that the only reasons people used to make movies was for money. Like until I learned that the people that go to festivals are doing it for recognition.
Yeah.
And that if you want to do your film because you want people to know you, then maybe cinemas is not for you. Because as an emerging filmmaker, somebody
Nobody
young,
knows you, nobody's gonna come
yes, when you go to film, if you notice, some movies go to festivals these days before they even come
back.
to the festival, to cinemas and to
yeah.
streaming platforms. And one of the things I've learned about motive is that before you even start writing, ask yourself, what do I want to do? Am I
want to get out,
yes. So it helps you even assemble the kind of people you want to partner with.
I think I should portray something from there. So what we made Rattlesnake, that for me is a major merger of motives and purposes, because we had a Charles Opley, as we call him. We had a Ramsey Noah, a legendary guy, and we had a Chris Odeh, who was nobody, literally. And I had made several films in my life as line producer where I did lots of work. I'm a workaholic. I've come to realize I'm a workaholic. And people love that about me, but also people use that from me. And I now realize that I really need to grow myself beyond this point where I'm just working for the money. I remember one day I was in South Africa, and my mentor, my pastor called me and said, Chris, this business you do, what stake do you have on the table? And I said, nothing. I work to be paid. And he said, you're mad. And that date made a turning point in my life. That's the day masterclass started. That's the day this book started. That's the day Rattlesnake was shot. Because I just realized that I need to own a part of the table. Like literally, when they say what you bring to the table, I want to bring table. I want to bring what you put something on. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it turned this is like COVID year. You know, people was thinking we were all introspecting at that period because we couldn't go out and drink and have fun. So we were introspecting. So that's what happened to me. But back to this. So Charles had done Living in Bondage with Play Network Africa. And he was planning to now build a studio where people can now trust to bring quality, which he has achieved today. But he needed to show that Living in Bondage, so people that made Living in Bondage were a studio. They can deal, they can create, they can make more films and make money. So to attract investors, to attract people, stakeholders in the film industry, that's what he wanted, to make his idea become a studio. Ramsey had made a film, Living in Bondage, but people felt one stroke, because we had a lot of one-time banging directors, so they felt that's another one again. So he had to show people that if I Live in Bondage didn't even capture what he wanted to achieve, he wanted to do more. He wanted to push himself some more. And that was me that had been under the shadows for years, and I felt it was time to put my name on the thing. So there was sending a message to the world. There was recognition for me, and there was profit for Charles. Charles wanted to make a studio that could turn over money. Ramsey wanted to be recognized. I wanted to be recognized. Sorry, I also wanted to send a message to the world that he is not just an actor. He is more than an actor. He's a full-blown creative. So he had a message. He wanted to be recognized. He had something he was pushing to make people know that their lover boy is more than a lover boy. I had my own recognition I was looking for. Charles had his own profit machine he was trying to create. And it all worked because all the three of us needed was a beautifully told story. From an epic piece, an epoch piece like Rattlesnake, which Amaka Egbe had done magical. So you know how you see Voltron come together, how you see Power Rangers come together and form that. That's what it felt like. So we all knew what the part of the table we were bringing, and it, like a puzzle, it just fit in, like dovetail, everything just fit in, and it was perfect. So when the film was made, I could see Chelsea's satisfaction, I could see Ramsey's satisfaction, I could see my own satisfaction, and nobody took from anybody. And so that brings me to say that as much as we say there are three motives, I'm not saying it's either or. It could even be combined. I can make a film because I want to pass a message and make profit. I can make a film because I want to be recognized, awards and all of that. So these are things that we need to understand, that as much as there are three listed purposes for making film by Chris, you can also have an overlaying format where some of these things work together or simultaneously.
Let me trouble the waters a bit. Now, this has worked, right? What if your purposes didn't, your motives didn't align at some point? Would you have pulled out? What would you have done differently? How could you have, because sometimes people think their motives are their motives, but there are other motives. So what if these motives could not align? Looking at it retrospectively now, what could you have done differently? What would you tell somebody who has a partner that they can merge together, knowing that they will make a beautiful film together? But
so making a beautiful film together doesn't mean it's a beautiful partnership, because, like I said, I've not said it yet. It's going to be next week. So like I'm going to teach when we do the manuscript part. We need to understand that filmmaking is show and business. There's a creative element to film and there's a business element to the film. So if a film makes money, it's done well, but it also has, no matter how you make that film has to also do justice to the story. We're not saying it has to be an outstanding story and win the Oscars and the Emmys, but it has to just do, for respect's sake, you have to just do some justice to the story. So the fact that the story worked, if the business doesn't work, and business now goes beyond money, I mean social capital, I mean impact, I mean how far it travels, I mean how much it makes. So everything, every milestone that was stated in the creation of the story, of the film, has to tick the boxes. So if the partnership created a beautiful story, but didn't create a beautiful production, I would have questioned it. So Rattlesnake was shot in COVID year. So it ticked the boxes for story, ticked the boxes for production, ticked the boxes for business. It was a whole shebang, like Ramsey will say. And that's what it is. So for me, if while you're waiting for a partner, looking for a partner, you have to be sure that everything works on every element. And how do I mean? People always look for people that are similar to them to partner with. But that is a wrong step. You need to find people who complement what you don't have. We say that all the time in Sozo. Staff your weakness. Look for people who can do what you can do. That's why you need them. We have a lot of partners that we don't need and they don't need us. And so we just go around arguing and fighting and having issues every day because we can do without each other. And at the snap of the finger, we disconnect because you always wanted your freedom. But you can edit, you can shoot, this person can write a script, this person can act, this other person can direct, this person can produce. You come together, nobody's going to be competing with anybody.
Yeah.
Just like a relay. If you're on my team, I'm not going to run past you. I'm going to give you the battle. If I run past you, I'm not going to win. So it's a relay. It's not a 100 meters dash for everybody to run. It's a relay. I need to give you the battle. You need to give Eno the battle. Then I have to give Zara the battle. If I run past you to Eno, we've been disqualified.
Yeah.
So I understand my boundaries and I understand my limitations, and I make sure you start from my end of my limitations so you can extend me to the next level. I can't stretch to that wall from here, but if I stretch towards you, you can stretch towards Nico can stretch towards Hope can stretch towards Anita, and we can touch the wall. That is the basis of partnership. So we need to see, first of all, which is why motive is important. You need to know your personal motive for the project and your personal motive for your life. What can you do? What can't you do? Where do you need help? I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not the guy who will jump on social media and be posting and do stuff. I don't like all. I like to be conservative. I'm a core Norton guy. Charles is the guy who wants to post everything you talk about. He understands the space. He loves the space. So when we come together, he knows what he does. I know what I do, and we complement each other.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ramsey. Ramsey is loved by everyone. Ramsey cannot hide. It's a, what do you call them? Something
Goldfish.
Goldfish, a goldfish. I'm the black fish in the water. You'll never see me coming. Literally. So, together we are able to. So I'm okay being behind and him being in front.
Yeah.
I'm okay with him being the face and I'm the foot. I'm okay with that, and that complements. So I do the dirty work. He does the
Showcasing.
showcasing.
So,
Okay.
sorry. Has any unforeseen circumstance, what's the word, influenced your motive? Maybe you or your partner?
Yeah. So when people say motive, we always make it look like motive is a fixed thing. Motive is as malleable as the word malleable. And I say this all the time, that when something is positive, when something is living and something is alive, it means it can grow, it can progress. In the sense of why, so the point is when you hit that what's the word, not threshold now, that end point, that bend, that T-junction, that crossroad, motive helps you make the right decision.
Yeah.
And at some point, your motive has to, so I set out to demystify filmmaking, and I taught to mentor people, and I taught to create a masterclass, and I've taught to write a book. When I set out to demystify filmmaking, I didn't think of writing a book. But like she said, we found out that I can't teach everybody I see on the road. Say, hey, how are you? You can make film for. I will get tired. I will get worn out. So the book came in as a point to extend me, so I don't extend beyond my capacity. So if you can't meet with me physically, at least you can meet my book. Someone can read my book and teach more people.
Yes.
They can watch this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, now the purpose was demystified, but the strategy is changing to achieve the motive.
Okay.
So your motive has to be big enough, wide enough, great enough to have branches in strategies to be able to redefine how you approach it. So I'll give an example. I wanted to make a beautiful, great film in 2020 called Rattlesnake. COVID struck. We were already done with our South African SFX people. I traveled to South Africa in February. If I came back into Nigeria and lockdown happened behind my back, like literally I came in today, they locked down the country the next day. And I came from a meeting with the SFX guys in Joburg, how they're going to come and take over, we had a full-blown scene in Joburg, we're going to shoot bank robbery. We took all of that out because our motive moved from shooting a great film to making a film in a year where others shut down. Go check 2020 and see, we made 2 good films in a year when nobody shot a film.
So, Rattlesnake was shot in 2020?
Yes, in the COVID.
Yeah.
You remember they lifted up the flights? I was in the first flight out of Abuja to Lagos. So we're shooting with mask on. For there was even a thing that went online. One actress said that we gave her COVID in our set. We were putting those things in our noses every day to travel. So our motive had to change to accommodate the COVID era. So it wasn't just about making a big film. Now, the fact the film came out was a success story.
Yeah.
People were like, how were you guys able to achieve this? So we got what we wanted, but not the way we set out. So the motive progressed, not transformed totally, but it added an extra layer.
Yeah.
But if we didn't know our motive, we would have shut down and say, oh, bad year, try next year. But we knew that we can bend it around.
That's something that the reason why you chose to come out was because you wanted to have social capital in terms of people can see you not just as Ramsey's guy, but as somebody that they can trust with money, someone that they can trust with, okay, he's the go-to guy. You want to make a great film, excuse me, go to Chris. And I know that being able to balance that three is what will make you have a great and dynamic film. You can have a good film with just making money. You can have a good film with just making profit, just having recognition or impact. But to make a film that will stand the test of time, you definitely need to balance this. But let me ask you, during your planning process, how do you balance these three motives when you're planning?
So I prioritize them. Like I was going to say that. So when the plane is under turbulence, and they need to disengage. They disengage based off of importance. How significant is this property? So if you're carrying food, you throw away the food. You throw away. That's like a ship also.
Yeah.
So yes, I have these three motives in this film, but now I'm faced with a challenge where a lot's at risk. What's the first thing I can let go? Am I going to let go the recognition element? Am I going to let go the profit element? Am I going to let go? You see, so why am I saying this? So there are two films that hit us greatly in Nigeria last year, Mami Water and The Tribe Called Judah. And these two films are as different as the word different can be. In their storytelling style, in their directing style, in what they did. Now, I will try to correct something there, that you can make a film for recognition and not make profit, but make profit. I'll explain to you. Okay. So I make a film and I take the film around the world and the film does greatly. It doesn't make money, but it's now recognized globally. What happens is that my next film will not lack funding.
I was going to.
My next film will not lack funding. So people now trust my process. Now this one is already gone. So they're like, on your next film, you have $100,000 here.
So you sacrifice,
that one to position yourself for that, which I did when I was doing line producer work. So I wasn't getting recognition as I should, but I was trying to position myself and learn the processes and be mentored by people like Sabari, Rogers Ofeme, Mo Abudu Oliver, Steve Gukas and co. Then I was formed. So when you see me sitting down here, there's a Sabari in me, there's a Steve Gukas in me, there's a Rogers Ofeme in me. There are lots of producers I've worked under who you see their elements in who I've become. And I needed to go through all of that process for 10 to 12 years to become. So I was okay to give them the credit. Because that was me paying back to be formed into this person I am now, where I can now train 100 people and more and mentor them over years. What am I saying is, I was ready to give that. Now I'm sitting here, people are like, this guy feels like a Steve. No, but there's a business part of him. So all of that now is not paying off here, because people also don't want to give money to people that are not creatively involved. So what makes my story different is that you can see the creativity, you can see the business acumen together in one. And I learned that from all of that, but I had to give some time. So you can also make films to get yourself positioned to now get the films, which I think Mami Water is going to enjoy. Even though I hear there's a distribution deal already. But what CJ and Oge are going to enjoy is in their subsequent films, people are going to come knowing the kind of success. Getting an NAACB award, that's a lot. Sundance, that's a lot. So people now know that if you're looking for a film that is out of the norm, this is where to go. If you're looking for a film that will storm the box office, this is where to go.
But would you agree that sometimes your story will determine the motive? Like there are some stories that you say,
I think your motive determines your story. I think your motive, I think the way you process the idea that hits you exposes your motive. If I sell Mami Water to a Funke Akindele, it will come out totally different. I'm not saying better or worse, I'm saying different. In the sense of, there's a way Funke Akindele's mind will process Mami Water. If I said A Tribe Called Judah, a woman with 5 sons from different men who have to go and rob to save their mom, to CJ Obasi, it's going to rub off differently. Let me bring it back home. If I take Living in Bondage and I give it to a Mo Abudu, it's going to come out differently. If I take Oloturi and give it to Charles of Play, it's going to come out differently. So I think the womb that conceives the idea is the motive. Know your motive, stick to your motive, be true to your motive, own it. And this motive is not what you tell people. It's your heart. Because I could tell you anything, I say I'm making a film to change the world. I'm calculating money half of this one. So what about that motive when you're alone in your bedroom? It shows you how much this book can create space for us to talk and talk and talk. Everyone is all like, line out the block.
One little question.
Then you get the question.
One little question. I mean, you've been in this business for a long time. Can you tell a motive by just watching a film and watching, like obviously you know the people that were behind it and everything. So if you can see a film, can you say, okay, I think this was for impact, or can you tell what was the producer's motive behind the film?
I can tell, but I don't think it'll be 100%. I can tell when I see the way the story hits me. So I'm a spiritual person, and I don't think everything is superficial. I think some things are physical and some things are invisible. You know, and I believe that the invisible controls the visible. So there's a way it just makes me feel. I could tell that there's something here.
Yeah.
But also, if I know who made the film and where they are at the moment they made the film, I could tell the motive for making the film. So, but I think you cannot tell a motive without knowing the person behind the motive.
it.
I think you need to know the person. So, for example, if you saw Living in Bond or saw Rattlesnake, you just say, oh, this guy is. Some people thought I'd be very rich Abuja boy, just flaunting money. A lot of people were mixing Charles and Chris because we're CH. A lot of people mixed both of us into one person. So before he became, I wasn't very vocal then. So people were just saying, oh, that's the guy that does everything. Then I realized, oh, there's a Charles who does the business part, there's a Chris who does the dirty work, and there's a Ramsey. So people who didn't know me and didn't know us just concluded that we're just people who had a lot of money and we're just buying all the old stories. We're not just buying the old stories. We had a subtle Igbo culture. Igbo is a culture that is going down the drain. That if you go to Owerri, go to any of the Igbo cities, you will hardly hear anybody make a full statement without adding English to it. Every Igbo man has an English name.
Yeah.
But we just go across to the Yoruba land. You can have complete conversation, not a word of English. And you have Yoruba people that don't have an English name. So they have saved their culture. Let them go to the north. North is super controlled. But Igbo, every day, it's cleaning up. So we thought as Igbo boys, it would be good for us to use our resources and our creativity to look for how we can contribute to sustaining now. You see, everybody's looking at me wondering like, really? That was your purpose? It was there. But all people say, well, Abuja boys, they were just throwing money up in the air. We're not throwing money up in the air. Most of the films you even watch are worth more than they cost. I'm going to talk about that in the money class.
Yeah.
So we're not really throwing money in the air. We're very shrewd businessmen.
Yeah. Mr. Chris, I feel like I speak for everybody in this room when I say that this is a phenomenal book.
Yeah.
And you're about to shake the industry in a different way. And every young filmmaker, if you want to make a film, if you want to know anything about filmmaking, this is a book to go to. I mean, Uche, you outdid yourself in this one. I can't believe this was your first project. So please, everybody, come out, pre-order, get this book before you say action. It is everything you would need before you start that project, before you get into that conversation about making a film. Read this book first. Mr. Chris, we are extremely
Such a
proud.
closing line. Wow. I'm sweaty. I'm nervous. I'm shy. Thank you guys. Bye.